Due to studio magic, I'm happy to bring in Genetically Modified Skeptic.
Hey, people.
Hey!
So I haven't been here for a little while, so you're going to have to help me with my mic here. Or
No
my
worries.
headphones here.
Okay, so... Oh, I'm plugged into the wrong one. Here, you're going to plug in here. Okay. We're going to freak out the back room right now. All right. Can you hear okay?
Yes, that's much better.
Can you adjust this and see if that gets you?
Yeah.
All right.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah. That's a little embarrassing because I've been in the studio too many times to not know that. That's kind of like I feel like a joke that people have at this point, or maybe I'm just being paranoid. But I joke about it myself, how bad I am with. God damn it, Josh, shut the fuck up. Someone shaming me.
See, this is what happens. I bring you on the show, and you just, dude. I'm so happy to see you, brother. I've got to say.
I derail all live things that I do, so I have to reel it in when I actually have, there's a crew and all that.
Volunteers, live studio audience.
Hey, people.
So before we dive in, I do want to say, if you haven't checked out Genetically Modified Skeptic, the guy's amazing. He's an incredible friend. He just had his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming to my birthday party. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. I'm not hungover. I'm just really, really tired. So, but yeah, it's kind of thanks to Eric. We had a nice game last night where we all insulted each other, and as nice as Eric is, wow.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He can get really nasty.
What?
I mean, you guys have probably seen me live. I don't have that much of a filter compared to my videos. It's I think it's night and day. But yeah, Eric beat me. Really badly. And I can't even say the joke.
Nope.
Yeah. Get on my Discord. Maybe I'll tell you on my Discord.
Oh gosh, watch out for his Discord. All right,
let's do some calls.
Well, before we dive in, I do want to say it wasn't me. I brought the cake and stuff, but the party was at Matt Dillahunty's. It was a ton of fun. Thank you, Matt.
And thank you, Megan.
And thank you, Megan, and everybody else who came. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
So now that we've completely alienated our audience, let's move on to Adrian in Texas. Hey, Adrian, you're live with Eric and Drew.
Hi, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just dive right into it on what I believe in and why. I believe in a creator God because of all the evidence that was left behind, like the moon and DNA and the tilt of the Earth and the distance from the sun that the Earth is, and the position of Jupiter, and the tectonic plates, and the what else is the ozone layer and the magnetic field.
So, Adrian, let's talk just a little bit broad scale, okay? So, in order for evidence to be good, when you're backing up a claim, that evidence needs to lead towards one of those proposed solutions over another, right? So you would need to show a link there between each of those things and a creator God. Which one is the one that you feel you have the most evidence for? And we can take a peek at it.
The creator God?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Just the creator God.
Okay, so you were bringing up tectonic plates and DNA, and which of those do you feel is evidence of that creator God? The strongest that you feel you could back up that we can talk about?
Maybe DNA.
DNA? Okay,
well,
so let's talk about DNA.
The experts. I just go by what the experts, when they say that those things look to be, designed or, then, that I take that as like a medical examiner looking at a body and saying, there was foul play here.
Okay, so experts is something that you're trusting, as I understand. That's right?
That's right.
So if an expert disagreed, and now I don't want to make an argument from authority, but I just want to go down the road that we're going down right now. if an expert disagreed that DNA was a code that was maybe constructed rather than naturally evolved, then what would you think about that? If there was an expert that disagreed with the maybe expert that you've heard say what you've heard them say?
An expert that disagreed, yeah, I mean, I would take their word at it too. I mean, I just haven't heard any experts say that there's evidence of no God.
Well, I don't know that scientists are quite concerned with conducting experiments or examining natural phenomena in order to assert that there is no God. I think a good scientist is someone who focuses on science rather than trying to prove a specific worldview. But I do have to commend you. You sound like you're quite open-minded about this, because a lot of the time when we ask people, this is why you believe this, and we say, if this was the case, if it was, different, hypothetically, then you're saying it is, if this reason was different, if the case was different, would you change your mind? A lot of the time people say, no, I still wouldn't change my mind. So I commend you. I think that's very honest. So I appreciate that. Now, hopefully not to go too basic atheist. This is not quite an atheist book. It is a biology book. But I would strongly recommend that you read Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene. I think that's a good jumping off point when you're trying to understand how DNA comes about naturally and how it doesn't necessarily require a kind of coder or programmer like computer code seems to. There are natural mechanisms by which DNA can change and improve, can evolve, devolve. So I think that's a good source to start at. Now, I think that we both sound like people who like to not speak on things scientifically that we're not experts on. And so that's probably the best that I can do to make sure and just have a proportional response to what you've said, is to recommend that source, The Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins. What do you think about that?
Richard Dawkins is actually the one that I heard say that DNA looked to be designed. And you can look that up on, there's many,
I've actually,
look it up on YouTube. And,
yeah, I've seen that quote, and if you watch the entire quote, it's taken out of context, because immediately after that he says, it looks like it's designed, but it's not for this reason.
Yeah, there actually is, I don't know if you've seen, what is it? It's that, like, Ben Stein.
Saves the world. That one?
No, it's, man.
No, there's Bill Nye. No. Oh, no, Ben Stein is the other guy. Oh, my gosh, he's got the other one. Yeah.
Expelled, yeah.
Oh,
so there is a movie
right.
about intelligent design called Expelled, and I actually was really into that movie. It sounds like something you may be referring to. If I'm wrong, I'll still just get out this point quickly. There are some films, and on either side, I'm actually not a fan of religulous Bill Maher. I think that a lot of interviews and stuff in there coached and dishonest, but I'm glad there's someone in the crowd that agrees with it. I don't want that to be like heresy or something, but you know. But Expelled, there are some rather coached and dishonest interviews in that movie. And if you watch, like, Richard Dawkins, for instance, talk about his interview with, I believe Ben Stein was the one who made that. He'll say
that is an expert, right? That is an expert, Richard Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins is
designed, right? You agree with that? Or?
Do you understand what out of context means?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I told you that quote was out of context, and then you asked me to agree on whether or not he said it, then yes, but you would probably also agree that would be a dishonest way of saying that, right?
No, because he's an expert.
Okay, so it's
not me making it up. It's an expert saying it.
Okay, then use the entire thing. Otherwise, it's dishonest. I'm telling you, it is dishonest when you take somebody out of context so that it looks like they're saying something that they're not. And if you did not know that, that is a tool you can have in your belt. It is dishonest.
Okay. All right. I apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
No, you're good. You seem very honest, and I really appreciate that, because a lot of the time, it turns into knockdown, drag out kind of conversations about this stuff, this topic in particular. And I've had them in the studio before, and they're not very, very pleasant. So
I love them. That's my jammy jams, man. I'm in it.
But
I like to be honest, and and I don't think I think if you know this information and you still say that you don't know, I don't think that that's really being honest.
Okay, so let's take a look because you've shared that all of these things you think point to a God, right? And you're saying that you've heard experts say it. We're believing you to the degree that we're able to have this conversation, but if we need to flesh that out, that's probably not something specific for this show because we need to be doing research. But there are questions that I can ask you. The first was a great one that Drew asked, and that was, well, what happens when you come across an expert that says something contrary? How do you determine that? That would be a great thing to look at.
I haven't heard any experts say that this was evidence for, no creator.
Why would you? Okay, how could you possibly study that? Do you understand? Okay, so let me. I'm holding up a coffee mug, right? This coffee mug is evidence. Hold on, Adrian. Hold on. I'm holding a coffee mug. I don't know if you're watching, but this Talk Heathen coffee mug is evidence for the lack of existence of a God. So I'm saying that. Now, how do you evaluate what I just said? Do you believe me?
Wait. If the coffee mug is evidence?
Yes.
Or
the non-existence of your God.
The non-existence of the God.
I've got another one. I've got the Book of Eric. The Book of Eric. Now, this book is a holy book that I've seen people saying this in the chat.
Let's go back to the.
Well, hold on just a second. I actually am writing the Book of Eric.
I haven't brought up any books. I haven't brought up any books yet. So.
No, okay. it's not books. It's just an example.
Yeah, this example I'm saying is proof that there are no creator gods. Do you believe that?
Yeah, if an expert said it, yes, I guess I would.
So you're talking to me. Do you believe that?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you would have to give your credentials and, are you an expert?
Okay. What if I was... So I think you should probably look a little bit more into how to determine whether or not something is true. Relying on experts is fantastic so long as you're able to understand and go through that process. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with some really wonky stuff. Nobody says... so let me give you an example, right?
I just use logic and reason.
Okay, that is a bastardization of logic and reason. And I can actually... So, hold on. All of the things that you just said also prove that I am God. Every single one. The ozone layer, DNA, tectonic plates, the whole nine. All of them are evidence that I am God. Do you believe that?
A creator God.
I am, sure. And my name is Eric. So, do you believe that? Adrian, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. I'm honestly asking.
It's not a trick question.
No,
it's not a trap or a trick question at all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I know what God looks like.
I'm not asking you if you believe what God looks like. I'm specifically asking you. I said everything that you just said is evidence for a creator God is evidence that I am that God. Do you believe me?
You would have to prove it with more evidence.
I agree. Have you put your beliefs through that same rigid testing process?
Yes.
You have? Okay. So how did you determine that DNA is evidence for a creator God?
The experts said it.
The experts said it. What did the experts say, Adrian?
Well, you can look it up.
Yeah.
There's lots of experts that say that DNA looks to be designed.
Okay. Can something look to be designed and not be designed?
Can something look to be designed and not be designed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you tell the difference?
We would have to see. Something looks designed. Well, it's yeah.
Okay. So let me,
Yeah,
no worries. I'm going to help out a little bit here. Right. How do we tell if something is designed? What we do is we follow the evidence wherever it goes. We don't start with a possible ending in mind. We just follow, just like Drew said, wherever the evidence leads you, right? So,
like a car or something, right? Like, how would we know if a car was designed?
Right.
Or
so,
like nature didn't just put a car together, right?
Right. And so, you're okay. I'm sorry. I want to make sure that we're. You follow the evidence where it leads you. You don't start with the conclusion in mind. Right? Mm-hmm. And so if you were to say, this is evidence for a God, then my question is, did you start with that conclusion in mind? Because that does not feel or appear to be sufficient evidence to come to that conclusion. So the example
like if you were looking at a car, like if you're looking at a car and it looks to be designed, you could say like the radio or the tires and everything looks to be designed. Like there's things about it that look to be designed. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. So there's things that look to be designed.
You're giving an example of something that's designed. That's fantastic. But then you're claiming something else is designed, and we're not going to agree with that. I'm not going to give you that. You have to prove it, not just say it looks like that. Right? We can actually give you a process that can lead to complex genetics, right? If you follow evolution, if you follow, changes in allele frequency over time, given geologic timescales, you can wind up with incredibly complex things that were not designed. We can show you what the process is to the best of our knowledge.
Though? Like with thinking like that, what wouldn't you say was made by nature, though? Like, you could look at a car and say that car was made by nature with the way that you're thinking.
No, I couldn't.
With your logic.
Nope, not even a little bit, which tells me you don't understand evolution. So how can you not understand evolution and still say you've looked into it?
Aren't you saying that things can just give the appearance of design?
Yeah, so I can put a bunch of different rocks of different sizes in a box and shake it around. And if I shake it enough, the larger rocks will settle to the bottom and the smaller rocks will settle to... Oh, wait, or is it the other way around?
Either way.
Either or whatever.
There's some kind of pattern in the way that they're sorted, yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to get crucified for that online. All right. But all
right, guys. Well, I just wanted to tell you what I believe and why.
Sure. Adrian, keep asking questions, because what you're doing is not getting enough evidence. You actually need to look for the evidence, because right now you're just giving us the claim. You haven't backed it up. You're saying that looks complicated, therefore this is true, right? And that does not compute. That doesn't lead to it. So you actually need to look for evidence to back up that claim.
I strongly encourage you, instead of looking at the end product, like looking at what we have and then saying this looks like this looks like that, do your best to study the process behind the, maybe you could say, creation or evolution or just progression of this thing into existence. So if you're looking at like a car, if you studied the process by which it came into existence, it would suggest design, and you could prove design that way. Now, proving a negative is not quite something, and that's a kind of a different conversation. Proving a negative is really not something that you can quite do.
You can.
I don't think it is a negative because there's so much evidence.
So if you're studying, I'll just leave you with, if you study DNA, study the process by which it changes and it's come about from something much simpler into something much more complex. And then once you have deeply studied into that process, try to determine whether or not there is any kind of reason for an intelligent designer to be inserted into that process to make its change and evolution necessary. At that point is the point where I think the God hypothesis is a reasonable one. And I think that if you study the evolution of DNA, then I don't know that inserting God in there is necessary or rational. So again, I gave you the Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins. I would read that, and I appreciate you being open-minded and willing to take sources, and hopefully you call again. I think this was a good talk.
Definitely. Can I ask just a few last questions before we go?
Sure.
Just yes or no questions. Adrian, if you found out that DNA was brought about by a process that is completely natural without any without any need for a creator deity, would that change your opinion on whether or not a creator deity exists?
Well, there's a lot of other evidence, but
I'm asking you specifically about DNA. You found out that DNA is not where it goes, and would that make you go, okay, there's no creator deity?
Oh, man. Well, I thought I just answered that sufficiently, but...
You said there's a bunch of other stuff, which kind of tells me that you're actually not hinging your belief on this. You're saying, this looks good, I'm going to present it. I'd actually like to talk about things that matter to you in a significant way. Otherwise, we're just batting around a really shitty ball.
So to be fair, and Adrian, you can tell me if you think this is correct, it sounded like he said he wanted to give the strongest answer he could, and now the strongest doesn't necessarily have to be a hinge. And now when I went through my deconversion, I went after the strong stuff first, and then there were a couple of things that were kind of floating around that felt like weak justifications. And I couldn't honestly say that after those strong things were defeated that I was like an atheist at that point.
You know what? That's a really good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, so I think it's a point of intellectual honesty. I think I would rephrase the question in, would it change your confidence? Not would it change your mind entirely.
Oh, we're getting street epistemology here.
Would it change your confidence that a creator God was the definite answer?
Right. If there was evidence, scientific evidence that there was no creator God, then of course I would believe that. I don't know why I wouldn't.
I think I want to just clarify this thing here, because I don't quite assert that I can prove that there is not this creator God. The way that I understand nature deems the idea of a God unnecessary for its creation, I guess you can say. Now, if you understood natural processes to be such that a creator God was not necessary to explain what we observe in nature, would that affect your confidence in believing in a creator God?
I don't know. Let's see. So can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a little bit wordy. If you observed nature and you observe the processes by which nature has come about, and you found that no God was necessary to make nature come about in that way, then, like with DNA, for instance, would your confidence be affected as far as your confidence in believing in your creator God?
If there was evidence that you didn't need a God?
Essentially, if there was enough evidence to where you felt like, you know what, a God is not necessary to explain this.
Yeah, I guess I think we're talking about the same thing. Like that would mean there was this evidence that proved that there was no God, right?
No.
Not quite. And there's a lot of atheist videos you can watch about this. I would recommend probably Cosmic Skeptic is quite good with this. Now,
gumballs. I'll just
he's good. Yeah.
Talk Heathen. Oh, okay. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a quick analogy.
We're having fun here. Yeah.
Actually, Adrian, we can do this off the air. Because we're kind of trailing down a little bit. Actually, no, I want to keep you on here. Okay, so in front of us, I have a jar of gumballs. Okay?
Okay.
So you can hear it. Probably doesn't sound that good if you're listening to this as a podcast. So this jar of gumballs is sealed, and I'm going to pretend that I'm bringing this jar of gumballs to you and to Drew. You know he's never seen it. He knows you've never seen it. You're looking at this jar for the first time, okay? Are we good there?
Yeah, I've heard this one, odd and even, right?
Yep.
And you would be, I don't know, right?
Right.
Okay. So wouldn't that be like 0% chance of being correct?
No.
in the gumball guessing game. And then even if I guessed, I would have 50% chance at being correct. And you would have 0% chance at being correct if you said, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'd at least be honest. And also, that's a binary. There are actually tens of thousands of religions that you would need to add to that. That's Pascal's wager. You would need to add tens and tens of thousands of possibilities.
God. I'm just saying a creator God. I'm not getting into the whole, which specific God or anything like that.
Okay, so
not yet until we agree that that a creator God is probable.
Okay,
and then we could get into which specific gods.
Okay, then we're going to need to, we'll take this on the next call. That was really good.
It's a longer conversation. Okay. You're asking good questions.
Yep.
I really do appreciate that. This will lead into something a little bit different, so it's good, I think, for us to take another call. For sure. But yeah, definitely do call in because if we're talking about binary thinking and burdens of proof and proving negatives, that gets into it's a little bit philosophical. And Eric is pretty enthusiastic.
Oh, I can sit down for a beer and just go all night on that one. All right. But Adrian, take care. Hope to hear from you again.
All right.
All right. Bye.
God bless.
Well, that was passive aggressive.
I don't know. For me, when I used to do that, it was just so second nature. Like I had to stop praying reflexively. So sometimes I wonder when that happens. People are like, oh, just have a good day. Like,
you know what?
God bless, Godspeed.
That is a very charitable way of looking at it. I like that.
I tend to look at it that way because I was there at one point. So I've
advised people to be charitable on that, and I wasn't charitable right now. Thank you. Dude, see, you're hired. No. I love Jamie. I love you, but I mean.
He seemed like a nice guy. And so I would tend to interpret that charitably and think that he meant that as have a good day.
Cheers.
Okay.